Let's start with the 9 p.m. Central Standard Time kick that was the Rocky Mountain Showdown, otherwise known as Colorado versus Colorado State. And I got to tell you, I really love talking about Coach Prime's Colorado because of all the other things that are also going on around outstanding football. Notably, on the sideline, Offset, Cardi B's man, was not only doing sideline interviews with ESPN, but also was out here absolutely telling you to go cop his mixtape. This man got on national television and said, go cop my album. This man got on national television and said, hey, get my SoundCloud streams up. Once a hustler, always a hustler. Once trapping, always trapping. I ain't mad at you. You know, while we out here, just go ahead and tell everybody to go watch bongos. I love that. And then Master P on the sideline. Make him say, telling you, we had No Limit Studios in Boulder, Colorado. And that's on top of The Rock, still being on the sideline, you know, just hanging out. I don't think I've ever seen The Rock hang out on a college football sideline, especially one that is kicking at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Boulder, Colorado. I love this. This is crazy. This is great. I got to see Offset and Wayne and Master P on the same day. The week before, I got to see Cameron, Gilly the Kid, Wu-Tang. Who do I have when USC comes to town? My God. Snoop, Dr. Dre, Cube, y'all all better beat, man. I better see NWA, 9 wins assumed on this show, showing up to Colorado. But that is to watch the outstanding football that's also being played by the Colorado Buffaloes. And frankly, most of the teams they played, like even Nebraska, was entertaining. One of the things I thought was massive about what I got to see from that Colorado game was just how good Shedeur Sanders is. Okay. I've said it before. He's my Heisman candidate, right? Top. I had this back in December. We got the receipts. You can go check it. It's on the Fox Sports website. And it's because of games like last night. Without his best receiver, who we'll talk about in a little bit, Shedeur Sanders took the ball down 8 with 2:06 left on the clock and drove the Buffaloes down the field, not just for a score, but a 2-point conversion where he ran an RPO where he had immense pressure, looking like he's going to get waylaid, and found Michael Harrison in the back of the end zone to tie the game up at 28. It is a man who went 38 of 47 for 348 yards, 4 TDs, and his first pick of the season. That's completing 81% of your passes, folks. That dude is him. He is elite. I've been trying to tell everybody this, and everybody keeps telling me that I'm wrong, and he keeps winning. Going back to high school, the man is 73-8. Winners win. That's who Shedeur Sanders is. He is the most important player at Colorado. And you can see how that is true because they couldn't run the football with Dylan Edwards. They barely could complete passes in the first half, and they were down 11 to start the fourth quarter, and they come back and win this thing in double overtime each time. We got to see Sean Lewis put the ball in the hands of Shedeur Sanders and say, go win it. At the end of the game, Shedeur was so cold. He was so cool. Said, what'd you think when you were down, 8 and you had the ball, 2:06 left to play? Said, Brady mode, as in Tom Brady mode, as in they left me too much time. Golly. Now, you out here talking about it's Colorado State. I don't give a damn. You play who's on the schedule. Did you beat them? Did you win? Are you undefeated? Are you 3-0? Because that's what Colorado is. Alabama ain't no 3-0. LSU ain't no 3-0. You get what I'm saying here? Clemson ain't no 3-0. Come on now. Give the roses where the roses are due. And they are due to that dude wearing number 2. Okay? But he had to find a way. And he had to find a way in a manner that we hoped he wouldn't have to all year. Because Travis Hunter had to leave the game due to injury. And the injury was so severe that he was taken out of the football stadium and to a local hospital. Injury came on a play when Colorado State's up 14-7, and Shedeur Sanders thought he might find Travis Hunter out on a route, and he overthrew him, and you could see Henry Blackburn load up and absolutely go straight into Travis Hunter's ribs. There's no questioning me, he was trying to hurt him. And you could see from the angle for which Travis got hit that he was off the ground, so he didn't have his balance. And you could see Blackburn wasn't looking for the ball. Not a single play on the ball. Loaded up his shoulder and threw it into Travis Hunter's ribcage. Now, following this, you could think maybe he got the wind knocked out of him, and that's what we hope. But the way that he went down and the way that his body language showed him hitting the ground the way he did, you could see that it was more than getting the wind knocked out of him. And following the game, Coach Prime said, hey, the first thing I heard is that he's probably going to be out for 2 weeks. It might be longer because they're trying to keep him healthy, because Prime has always put the health of his players above playing them. It's the reason you haven't seen Alton McCaskill IV playing at tailback, who's the most talented tailback in that room right now, because he wants all these dudes to feel great when they go play. And he had the same issue with Hunter last year at Jackson State. He had an ankle injury, right? But he wanted to play against FAMU. And Prime had to put him through his paces, going, you have to tell me. You have to tell me if you are not okay. And Prime had to trust him to tell him whether or not he was going to be okay. But that ankle, when he went out to FAMU, didn't get worse. And he's still the player that he was. But you also know that he's the kind of guy that will make plays. And Shedeur will go look for him on 3rd and long situations. Will go look for him when it's winning time. He did against Texas Christian. He did against Nebraska. There's no doubt to me that he would have done it against Colorado State. And maybe that game does not get out of hand the way that it did for the Buffaloes. But I was just so mad at this injury because A, Blackburn didn't have to do it. B, Blackburn wears a C at Colorado State. He's a senior. He's from there. There was no reason for this. And now we have to watch Colorado play the rest of the season, at least the next couple of weeks, which are Oregon and USC, perhaps the 2 biggest games on their schedule all year, without their most talented player. But it also puts the onus back on Shedeur Sanders, who is already passed for 1,251 yards through 3 games. He's averaging 417 yards a game through the air. He's got a 10-to-1 TD to INT ratio, and they're going to need him. He might throw the ball 50 times against Oregon because they just haven't been able to run the football with Dylan Edwards back there. Maybe we get to see Alton McCaskill IV for the first time all year at Autzen Stadium. But I got questions about Cormani McClain and whether or not it's time to try to see what you got. Now, Prime said a couple weeks ago that Cormani has to be ready. He has to get ready to play, which is another way of Prime saying he ain't ready to play. So they went out there with Kendrick Breedlove in Travis Hunter's stead, and Kendrick Breedlove, transfer from Ole Miss, was getting his grits cooked by Torrey. Okay, Torrey Horton was out there just running blue right 92 to death. All right, I ran the air raid. Okay, I'm an air raid quarterback. I love the air raid. I grew up around the air raid. Mike Leach was running air raid in 99 at Oklahoma, right? And that's kind of the identity that I grew up around. And one of the things you'll notice about most high school football teams is they kind of mirror the college team that's closest. So back in the day, we used to run a lot of wishbone around here too. So I come up at a time when we throw an air raid, which means quick game, trying to get the ball out. And we're trying to get matchups where we can win. And Blue Right 92, otherwise known as Mesh, is a man beater. And Charles Kelly likes to run a lot of man. So they just kept running Torrey Horton on a shallow cross. And Kendrick Breedlove couldn't do nothing with it. So much so that on the sideline toward the end of the game, I'm watching Prime coach this dude up on how to be a DB. Like he's absolutely saying, put your hands on this man. Don't let him get off the line on you. That's going to be tough against Troy Franklin and them on Saturday. Because Troy Franklin is that dude at Oregon. Okay. And they got an outstanding run game, right? Noah Whittington, Jordan James, them dudes can go. That defense is going to be rip-roaring and ready to go. And again, that game's in Autzen. So I don't think you're going to find too many people picking Colorado to upset Oregon. But what else is new, right? This is what people have been doing all year. They're waiting on Colorado to lose. I've never seen so many people waiting on one team to lose. It's almost like USC back in 2004, 2005. They're just not that talented, right? But the same sort of way that most people outside of South Central felt about that team, that's how I think many people feel about Colorado. You either with them or you with them or against them. And we, mostly black folks, but all the folks that love style and flash and high-flying antics, love watch Colorado play football. But Oregon's going to get up for this game in a real way. They're a 19.5-point favorite at a line I looked at, but the line ain't been right on Colorado game all year. Like they were a 22-point favorite, 27 to some against Colorado State. That game was tight, went into double overtime. Nebraska was picked to win and be a favorite against Colorado. Texas Christian, the same. The line doesn't mean anything when Colorado plays football, right? Because the line is set by a bunch of people who are either heavily betting against, heavily betting on, so forth, so on. But I think they're going to have to try to figure this thing out in the secondary, because it used to be you could just run on Colorado, who's given up like 242 a game before going to Colorado State. And then we got a mummy calling the offense, and yet they could throw, right? We got to see what it looks like when an air raid just decides to go after Colorado's defense. It just means that the defense has to bend, not break. But shouts to Shilo Sanders, who also had a pick six and a forced fumble and a pass defended in this game with a TD, right? I mean, he had a couple where he got his grits cooked too, but that's going to happen when you play DB. But I got to tell you, it was nostalgia, it was present, and it was futuristic when I saw 21 and Sanders on the back, high stepping toward the end zone on a pick six. I'll bet that just lit his father up. And if you are Prime, this has got to be awesome. Your kid is one of the best players in the sport at quarterback, and the dude that's wearing your number on the defense is playing a lot like you might on the defense, having a lot of fun, and I hope he continues to have fun. We're going to talk more about Oregon and Colorado on our Wednesday show when I go through this thing picking games, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all that I went 5-1 on Saturday, Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.